Good morning, everyone. It's Phil Wade with Dalton Wade Real Estate Group. We're here with Jerry. Hey, say hello, Jerry.
How you doing?
We got a couple more people coming, but they're not here yet. But we just thought we'd get going. So we had kind of I put out the email this week, and I kind of said, okay, instead of me deciding, we'll let the group kind of hear what they want to have the topics be, and yeah, a bunch of interesting things came back. So we're going to hit on three topics today. One is receiving multiple offers when you're the listing agent. That was a popular one, and how to handle that. The other one was putting an escalation clause in an offer, and I'll explain what that is and when you would use that. And then the last one was more of a question regarding flood zones and how those are determined and maybe some resources to help there. So let me segue back to the multiple offer situation. So you're the listing agent, and you've got the property priced correctly, and lo and behold, you get two or more offers. Sometimes that can even take a little bit of time. I remember when I had a listing up in Boston, had it for at least 4 months, no offers. Then one weekend we got 4 offers. So sometimes, some very strange things happen in terms of, when the offers come in. When you get that first offer, a lot of times what you'll want to do is go back to everybody that's actually taken a look at the property or maybe expressed some interest in it. And then anybody coming through subsequently, you will want to let them know that there's an offer. And sometimes because there's an offer, it will make other people actually act and put in an offer as well. So then once you get 2 or more offers, you really don't, obviously you're going to send them both to your client. And you're going to kind of tell them that this is really the best way to proceed. So you're not going to be negotiating with, one party or the other or both of them simultaneously, unless one offer is so much better than the other. But even if it is, sometimes what you can do is just tell both parties you want their highest and best offer you set a time deadline. Say you had 2 offers today, it might be Sunday at 5, Sunday at 8, Monday at noon, some short amount of time. So you're still trying to collect some additional offers if you can get them, but then you're putting a time deadline on when they have to give you their best offer. And then that typically tends to drive up the price. People will really let you know what they're thinking, especially if, they really want the unit. Oftentimes, if you look at MLS and you see things that have closed above the list price, usually that's what happened, that there was, more than one offer and it became a competitive situation, and therefore someone was willing to pay more than what it was, listed at. So the thing with multiple offers, you want to be as fair as possible with both parties. The party that doesn't, if your client ends up going with one and not the other, or if there's, say, 4 offers and obviously you can only have one, the other 3, you want to let them know immediately, what is happening, and that unfortunately they didn't get it. And you want to make sure that you're completely fair with everybody so that everybody has an opportunity. That's why, you have the deadline, and then, the people are able to put their offers in up till that time. I had a situation where I was the buyer's agent, and we were in a multiple offer situation. My client was 2 gay ladies. The other agent, didn't handle it at all very well. She kind of shuffled us off, ended up seeming to negotiate with the other party and not us. And my clients got, very upset and felt, there was some type of, discrimination, and they were upset to the point where they actually, called the real estate board. So, yep. So that's a true story that happened. So, so you don't ever want to, you want to treat everybody equally, everybody fairly. In that case, the agent made a mistake by telling us she was negotiating. They asked for highest and best, and then, she told us they were then negotiating with the other party, which, like what were we, chopped liver? So, we didn't have a chance to, so you want to give everybody the same chance, and then, let your client decide. It's not your call. Sometimes it's more than just the price. You might have a cash offer, that's a little bit less than somebody with financing, and that, seems like a better offer because, it's more than likely going to have a higher probability of closing. But again, the people that don't get it, you want to respect them and get right back to them and let them know, because you never know. Sometimes that person that you did sign up, maybe they don't get through the home inspection, and you can go back to one of the other people if they're still around. So
once you tell them that their offer, though, is not accepted, that offer is gone, right? So in other words, if the offer that is accepted for some reason didn't go through, and you had 3 other offers that you told them were not accepted, even if you want to go back to those people, you're talking about new offers now. Correct?
Yeah, I mean, you could, probably, the actual offer is going to be all changed because maybe a couple days have gone by now, or, the amount that you ultimately agreed upon has changed. So you probably would want to rewrite something up or redocument it, or just take the original offer and change, what actually changed, and just have everybody initial that. That would work as well.
Okay, so you can
initially,
original.
you can initial the original as long as any changes are initialed. That's fine. That works. So really, the point is you don't want to burn any bridges with the other people, because you never. And what's interesting, the one I mentioned about the 2 people, a week later I got a call from the listing agent, and the people had walked away. And then my client was going to move forward. But then the owner decided not to sell, so it ended up, we didn't end up getting it done in the end anyways. But so that's multiple offers. If anybody has that situation and they want to bounce, anything off of me, as always, I'm available. Now this is kind of the opposite of multiple offers. This is when you're the buyer's agent, and now it is multiple offers. So you're in a situation where the listing agent has told you there's a deadline. All offers are due by Monday at 5 o'clock. And your client, this is the escalation clause. This is a little trick that not a lot of people know, but is an effective way when you're on the buy side in a multiple offer situation. Now, if it's a bank-owned property, I've tried this. They don't like this technique, so that this may not work there. But if it's not a bank-owned property, you can certainly use it. So what you do is when you put in your offer, you put in the amount that your client wants to pay. Let's say the house, I had one here just recently where I used this. So the house was listed at 200. We knew it was going to be multiple offers. She was a cash buyer, so she was in good shape. So what we did was we put our offer in at 195,000, but then we told the buyer, the seller, that we would pay $2,000 above their best offer, up to a maximum of 205. So they actually had an offer for 210 that they showed us. You'll want to see. You have to put in there that they have to document that they actually have a higher offer. And so they took our maximum price at 205. She's a cash buyer. We ended up getting it. So maybe at 195, if we didn't have the escalation clause in there, we might not have gotten it. So the escalation clause is used to kind of protect your client. So here's an example again of a situation I had up north, probably like 5 years ago, but I think it applies and why you want to use an escalation clause. So I had a listing, it was 249. I think I had 5 offers, and I was orchestrating, the highest and best. So everybody was highest and best. There were a couple offers right at the list. 249, and then one person paid 265. So she ended up paying 16,000 higher than the next offer. Now, why she did that was because her sister lived one street over and she really wanted to be there. Now, what her agent could have done is he could have come in at the list price and then had the thing where, up to 265, but that she'll pay 2,500 or 2,000 above our highest offer. So we still would have gone with her, and then in that case, it would have been sold to her for 251 or, whatever that bump up was above, the highest price. So it's like a governor. It allows your client to be the top bidder, but it keeps it so that they don't have to be like crazy like this woman became. So that's how an escalation works, escalation clause, and that's how it benefits your clients. So it keeps them in essence in check, and it allows them to pay whatever it is, 1,000, 2,000, 2,500, 5,000 if it's a more expensive house above above the top price, and then you have a maximum on it. That's the highest amount she'll go. They have to show you their highest offer to support the escalation clause kicking in. So again, if there's any questions on that, please get in touch. If you're ready to submit an offer and it's highest and best, we can go through exactly the verbiage and how that would be written up. So again, it's an effective technique, and one that most buyers have never heard of. So it's a good one from there. Had a question on flood insurance, and kind of how that, not so much flood insurance, but flood zones and kind of how that is all determined. So there's an excellent resource out there. If you Google, and I'll send everyone the link, if you Google Pinellas County flood zones, Hillsborough County flood zone, there's a FEMA map that basically you can type in the address and it'll pull the property right up, and it'll show you whether it's AE or X. So AE is the flood zone that requires flood insurance. X is no flood insurance. So a lot of times on MLS, there is no notation regarding whether it's in a flood zone or not. That field, unfortunately, is just left blank. So you can go, like you might be working with a client. I have a couple right now on the buy side, no flood zone. So, if the property's in a flood zone, they don't want to see it. So, when I'm doing my research and putting my, itinerary together for them, I go through and, use this site, copy the address out of MLS, plop it into that site, and it'll tell me whether or not it's in a flood zone or not. And really, the thing that's interesting, a lot of times people think flood zones are near the water or the bay, the Gulf, and that's actually not at all true. It's all driven off of the elevation. So if the then there's a higher probability that it's going to be in the AE. You can literally have one street be a flood zone and the next street, not be. So it's you can never really be 100% sure. Some parts of St. Pete, you get up by, Shore Acres, higher probability of flood zone. Pinellas Park, my findings most of it's in a flood zone. You get closer to downtown, Kenwood, heading towards, the beaches, that area for the most part is in a flood zone. So those are 3 topics for today. Again, as always, take questions offline if anybody has any, or if there's anything that comes up on anything, just get in touch and I'll help you with that. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next Saturday.